Everyone, welcome to one more round. Today, I'm really excited. I have Michael Bankston with me today. So Michael, many of you may know, he played in the NFL for many years, 9 years, was an Arizona Cardinal. I've been a Cardinal fan as a kid, and we share the probably disappointment sometimes of the seasons. But we actually met playing golf a couple weeks, maybe about a month and a half ago. J.D. Hill introduced us. We're at his celebrity golf tournament, and we had a lot of fun. We definitely overachieved for the talent in our group. I will say we did
Josh,
well.
we had you. Let's just be real. Josh, we had you.
We were like 12 under, which
Yeah.
it's the best I've ever played in a four-man scramble, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. But as we started talking, you were telling me about the NFLPA that you're the president of, which is the NFL Players Association. What you guys do to help NFL players transition and what that life looks like afterwards. So, I mean, I thought it would be really fun to kind of sit here and talk about that in your career, and then also kind of talk about what's the future for players.
Well, so one of the key things you indicated was a transition, which is difficult for some. Some is easy. Some you see go into broadcasting. Some you see go into coaching, and that they almost groom and navigated into those roles per se. A lot of guys don't have that opportunity because not everybody can be a coach. Not everybody can go into broadcasting. So now what's next? What's next? For me, I was doing some business. I had the Bankston Ventures Group, which I had restaurants, I had apartment complex, I had some rental property. I had various different things, and of course the stock market. But of course we had the stock market issues. 401k went from 401k to 201k. We had some of the real estate that didn't go the right way. I mean, a lot of guys go through the same scenarios, unfortunately. And so, how do you navigate through that? How do you continue to live and have a quality of life? And that's where the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs come for a lot of players, and you see a lot of situations where we had some suicides. They say the concussion, CTE, and all those things that transpired. But I think it's just a plethora of just living life and that quality of life, and being up here at one point. But then when the fans stop cheering and the checks stop coming in, that's great. Then you're down here. How do you maintain the mental and physical aspects of that? So the transition is hard for a lot of guys. Thankfully, over time, they started doing a lot of better things. The NFL, through the trust, through the PAF, through the PCF, through various different organizations that's tied to the NFL, tied to the Player Association, just to help these guys in transition. Education, mental health resources, physical resources, things of that nature that will, just hopefully bring a balance into their life. And some get it, some don't. I just keep it real. That's just how life is. We no different. We put our clothes on just like everybody else put their clothes on. We just was at a level that everybody was putting you on a pedestal, but when you're up top, where else are you going to go?
Yeah, right.
You fall sometimes.
It's it's called the anchoring effect, right? And we see it in finance, we see it in different things, but certainly when it comes to athletes, athletes more so than like celebrities that are actors and actresses, right? More of that, because you have this anchor of what your life was like, right? So everything after that, you're kind of comparing to that, right? You go to a restaurant when you're an athlete, and it's, oh, Mr. Bankston, it's so good to see you. Oh man, we've got a private, table over here for you and your wife, and and then as things transition out, maybe that service is not quite as good anymore. People aren't as anxious to get an autograph, and that anchoring for players is tough. And you also see it with business people that have done super well and then got kicked in the teeth and end up, having to sell their homes, having to close down their businesses, having to go through the bankruptcy process. maybe they had, so I used to have courtside seats at the Suns in one of my companies, and we were doing pretty well, but then we went through a tough time. And, fortunately we didn't have to BK the company, and we kept it going, and I got it to a point we actually sold it. But I remember that of, man, getting to go there and the POA and the free drinks and all that stuff and getting to see the players to, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can make our mortgage this month without like taking out a loan, so that kind of disposition is incredible. So that's a small time guy, not an athlete. So I can imagine.
I mean, Josh, that's a good comparison though. You remember when that boom and bust in China, when those people were jumping out the buildings, when when they were killing themselves, just like you said, these big time business people making all this money, and all of a sudden, woe is me, and now what do I do? And again, that's the navigation that a lot of the strain that players have to go through, and it's unfortunately it doesn't have time. You can be early in your done with your career. You can be later done with your career, or you can be middle of the road done with your career. And adversity strikes. But I think adversity strikes us all in some aspects. And we talked about the little health issues, and we said we were not going to get into it, which is fine. But it was wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm playing golf, I'm walking around, and next thing you know, I'm laying down and I can't do much. So those things that, how can I navigate again? How can I overcome? And how can I continue with a quality of life that is conducive to my success? And my success is different from other people's success. My success might be a hamburger. Somebody else's success might be a steak.
Right.
It just all depends. But what makes you happy and what makes you joyous. And thank God, that my mind, it helps with God as the head helps me, really rethink things, right? And like prioritize things and say, you know what, this is not important.
Yeah.
That's not important. My wife, the kids, the grandbabies, other things, family, other things are much more important than, getting this or having this or doing this, and that makes a huge difference.
Absolutely, and it's true, because I'm a Christian, have been since I was 19, and it's a learning process, and I think I'll be learning until I'm dead. I mean,
We all
right. It's part of the deal, right?
We all.
But I do see things through a different lens. Granted, everybody wants to have a vision of what success is to them, and it's not like that you don't want nice things. You do, and you want to be able to provide for family, create a legacy and whatnot. But like for me, it's like I want a good relationship with my wife, like a great relationship. I want my kids to have a great relationship. This past week I had some conversations with them, and they're amazing kids. Like,
awesome.
And we're having conversations about, hey, you got to have a little fire in your belly. You have to want to create things and what you're excited about and be passionate, and you got to be able to work hard and these types of things. But I want to be in a position where they want to listen to me, because they've seen mom and dad have a good marriage and be somewhat successful, but have ups and downs, and see that and understand that. Like, that to me is true, like that's success to me.
Right.
And the things and whatnot come, but like no fancy vacation's gonna make me happy or successful.
Right.
If my kids and I don't have a relationship.
No, I agree with that, and a lot of those things are temporal anyway. One of the things that you indicated when you talk about the kids is like, we got a blended family, my wife and I now. This is my second marriage, and the kids knew, because the wife before educated, all educated, and they knew that it was only one route to go. In America, we get too many choices. How many different light breads? How many different coffees that you want? How many different that? In some cases, you narrow it down. In that case, we narrowed it down to, you're going to school, where you go to school, and make your choice to go to school, that's on you. But other than that, you have to go to school. So our last one is at North Carolina A&T in college in Greensboro, North Carolina. She'll be here for the Christmas break. But that's the last one, and we'll have 4 college graduates, a couple of PhDs, and and that's the blessing part about it. The success of them, transcends to, where you at, and then also give you that motivation to keep it going and see what's next and see what's going to transpire in their life and them dealing with adversity. Because I also like what you said. Hey, you got to have something. I told my daughter, I said, you got to have not a job, but a career.
Right.
Have something that you can have that is going to sustain you and not just appease you every 2 weeks, but something that's going to build a foundation for you for a lifetime. So that's my push to her. I'm kind of tough on that one, but I know this world is tough.
No, it's so smart too, because career planning is something that doesn't really get talked about a lot. And what I mean by that is people go to college, right? And they're like, oh yeah, I want to have this job. But they say, I want to have this job. They don't necessarily position it as, no, I want to have this career, I want to do that. Unless you're in generally medical engineers, attorneys, like they have a career mindset from the outset, because they have to go to, not necessarily engineers, but the other two have to go to school so much longer. Engineers are just wired that way though, like they're long-term thinkers. But people that are in other fields of study, they don't necessarily see it as just, I'm going to have this long career, and what does my first job look like to get me to the stepping stone from here to there? And I kind of parallel that back to an NFL player, right? Because they have a finite skill. That skill is what helps them earn a lot of money for a period of time. That skill diminishes and their body deteriorates.
Yes, sir.
And they can't perform at the level to get paid that much. So like it's a ticking, time to where they have to have other skills. So then that's where the next thing has to happen. So for them, it's like, what is career planning? I would love to see, and I'm sure you guys already have this track of like, okay, cool. After you're a player, well, do you want to continue on maybe with NFLPA? Maybe you want to work with kids and be in communities. What does that look like? And training and tracks of like, okay, cool. Here's what your life would look like. Here's the career extension from the NFL after that. Like that would be great to see.
And when you compare it like to the transition and then to the physical attributes that a player has to have in his position to be the best that they can be, the key word is position, and positioning yourself to be able to maneuver. I know one of the things for me, and I can't speak on everybody else, but a lot of people in my group, is finishing school. Because when I got drafted, I still had basically 2 semesters left of college. So I had in my mindset, just because I got drafted, I'm gonna finish school. So I got my degree in business management, and then later in life, while I was coaching at Kane State Academy, I decided to get my master's in theology. The trust, as I indicated today, you can go to school, you can go get your PhD. We can go for free. The excuses is going, as long as it is a certified school, which, majority of people will pick, and you can go to school for free to advance your education. But that's one of the things I know that it was needed to make that transition. Now, when it came down time, like I said, and I told you the different things that I got into, it still was a whirlwind, because one thing about athletes, you're in the financial industry. I was with Charles Schwab, and everything was set. Monday through Sunday was set, believe it or not. Monday, you come in after the game, you do a little training, you watch film, they curse you out after you do something wrong, how to get better. You can meet with your position coaches, we talk about it, then you're done for the day. Tuesday, you're off unless you have injuries, you have to come in for training. Wednesday, it's full tilt, get ready, preparation, come in, go over the game plan, get ready for the next opponent. Thursday, same thing. Friday is a half day. Saturday is a travel day, but you still come in to practice. We call it walkthrough.
Yeah.
And then if it's a home game, you go to the hotel. If it's a away game, you get ready to travel, get on the plane, and haul out. And then Sunday is game. So you have that for your whole for 6, 7 months of your life that it was like that. And then in the off season, you had to train. So it was just a rigid thing that you always had. So you really honestly, didn't really have to think.
Yeah.
You didn't, long as you were playing, you didn't really have to think. You had to do this, that, prepare yourself, and you got the season to go through. When you get done, you look around, you're at home, the wife already got her routine with the kids, and you trying to infiltrate that, and it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
I'm a testament on that. It didn't always work, and then it just, everything starts to explode or implode, and then now you have to find a way to digress, put it all back together, and move forward. And like I said, it wasn't easy. It was tough. Overall, I thank God, like I said, that He still, put me in position to still be successful. And what I mean by that is, being in a player association, doing certain things, coaching, and people seeing you still in that light.
Yeah.
I used to say, still make yourself relevant. That make yourself relevant.
Reinventing yourself.
Yeah, and that's what one of the things that keeps me going. Now, as I got older, I'm like, oh, now they can have this one. They can have that. I done turned down more things this year than I done turned down in, of course, a long time. I mean, I just, I think at some point you just get tired, and I think I'm at that point where it's the next man regime in a little bit.
Yeah. Kind of bringing up the new leaders to come in and fulfill positions
and fill the positions. And I mean, I'll still be there because I always enjoy helping out the players, and helping them, financially, how to receive, some financial support, how to receive, if they need therapy, counseling, all those things, how to further their education, whatever they need that I can assist with. I still enjoy doing that. It's still just being a servant, giving back.
right.
And I don't think that part is going to ever stop, because a guy told me the other day, he said, man, you're doing a good job. And I don't ask for it. I just, he said, you will call me back. He said, you will talk to me. I said, oh man, I said, you know how I am. That's just me, So I don't think, even when I hand the reins over, I don't think I'm gonna stop doing that, in that capacity.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it makes sense to stay in the ecosphere, right? Because again, going back to what you're talking about, the routine, like you're kind of used to now your routine. It's not like, so you went from the NFL to helping out with this to, you got to do something. Like, so granted, I mean, we're in the financial planning business. Retirement's a part of that. But when I hear the word retirement, I don't associate it like most people do. It's not, great, I don't have to work anymore, let's play golf 5 days a week. That is the epitome of hell to me. I would be miserable doing that. That's just, no, I don't have to worry about money anymore. But I still got to be doing something. I still got to be growing a business or volunteering in an organization or doing consulting or like something. So it's like you're trying to figure out now what that next routine is for you based on the wisdom that you have, but maybe not putting as much exertion of energy out to do, right?
Well, Josh, I can't play that much golf in a row without my body just breaking down, and that happened to me recently, like a dummy. That's just me. Not sure why I did all that, but that's here nor there. But you're right. Like, you have to do something. If you don't, you just deteriorate. And I agree with that. Even if it's just volunteering, working part-time, which I still try to keep myself doing. I work at the cigar bar,
Okay.
Castro's, and I really don't do much. I was coaching at NFLPA, which is basically like an alternative school. NFL built that school, I think, after the first Super Bowl. and they normally build a boys and girls club, but they built a school. And Coach Moles, I said, well, I'll come out there and help. And so I was out there. So just, things of that nature. I felt the longest that I was more consistent as far as a work routine is working with kids.
Yeah.
I think I would rather work with kids than adults a lot of times because, adults got their adult ways, and kids, you got an opportunity to influence them in a positive light.
More moldable.
Yeah,
sure.
more moldable. So I did that for many. It was still doing it in some aspect with the kids and speaking to them and things of that nature. So that was probably, if I would say, the what gave me some stability and some sense of belonging and blessing will be working with the kids.
Yeah.
Even though I had a tough population because I had juvenile kids. It wasn't like Mountain View and Bash and Chandler.
Yeah, right.
I was dealing with the ones that come out of prison and jail and everything else, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. But those are the stories that are, I guess, the ones that really inspire people, right? It's easy to have an easy upbringing as a kid and then just get a little bit of guidance, right, and to just take you down this path. But it's another thing to be completely going this way, have someone like you come in their life and completely veer another direction and be able to talk about that story. We have a mutual friend, Julio Almanza, so he was in the cartel. He had a terrible story, an absolutely terrible story, backstory. Was a lot of bad things happened to him as a kid. Ended up going down the wrong path, but then he turned his life around. God turned his life around, and he literally has a ministry, a podcast. He goes into prisons, he teaches, and you wouldn't know it. Like, he's tattooed up and down. The guy can still probably, bench 5 wheels. I mean, he is a big, thick dude.
Oh, wow.
But he loves people. His story is more impactful than someone like me. I had good parents, I had a good upbringing, and I've had great mentors, and I've still managed to do stupid things, right? But I've had, that. So it's cool that you were able to speak in the lives of kids that probably would have gone down continually on that bad direction.
Yeah, we call it recidivism, likelihood for them to reoffend, and what you try to do is give them so many therapeutic hours of different variations. And when I say the variations, a lot of these kids weren't going to school, so they give them education. A lot of these kids weren't in sports, so you give them sports. A lot of these kids didn't have to learn some type of trade, so you help them learn some type of trade. Just give them a different aspects on life, and then a lot of times, like anybody, what is most thing? You just want to know that somebody cares, somebody loves you, and somebody's really wanting you to turn things around, wanting you to be the best that you can be. And once they sense that, they're more trustworthy. But that's just how life is. We'll be the same way. Like, okay, I can trust this person really, 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 really wants me to be better and do better in life. And so, but the only, I got to say the but is that, not just like anything, even with the athletes, not everybody gets it, nobody understands it. And even with that role being woven for you in a better light, sometimes you're still in that dark place, and it's hard for them to exit out of that dark place and to see the light, because you got to take the scales off, tell God, take the scales off your eyes to really see the path that you should take. And those kids that I dealt with, a lot of times they actually thought right was wrong and wrong was right. It sounds twisted, but they really think that, because some of them didn't have any mental, emotional issues. They just really wanted to choose their lifestyle.
Yeah, and they didn't know any better either.
No, because it's their background.
Right.
They didn't know anything better. Nobody showed them anything better. So that's why you had to give them so many hours to hopefully, almost like spaghetti, see what's going to stick, see what's going to spur on change, see when the light bulb is going to click on, and okay, yeah, I don't want to continue to live in jail or die,
Right.
and which we've seen both sides of that scenario. The kids that I had go back home, get shot, killed. You go back to that same lifestyle, thinking just like being a fool, doing the same old things, hoping for different results. Insanity,
Yeah,
I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll go back to that, and the results are still the same. The outcomes are still the same.
No, it's a big challenge out there, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of my conversations, and Hank could attest to this, like people that I talk to on the podcast and stuff, seem to be in that world where helping kids is the big thing. We had the Arizona foster family care CEO come in, and they were talking about like the foster system and like having a stable parent life and having that kind of stuff is important. Like anything you can do to help kids, I think is important. Whether it's a dire strait or even just like I said, going down the right path, but just course correction type of thing. It's like that's where you can mold people. Because yeah, you're right. You get to adults and
it's hard at that time.
the thing there is because I have advisors and stuff that I help and I coach and I mentor and stuff, and I'm very fortunate. I got some really great ones on the end. But they all kind of have their own way that they look at things, and where I can always go with them is like they're never achieving what they quite want to necessarily. So they'll listen to me because they kind of see that path that I've paved and Ariel and Adele have paved. It's like, okay, well, this is why you should listen, and this is what it's going to do, because I can go back to that need that they don't have. But with kids, like they have all the needs, right? They don't know what they want to do. They don't really know what their skill sets are. They don't know where their talents are lying. And that's, as a mentor, being able to point out, because we see it. You can meet a kid and spend 30 minutes with them and be like, okay, I can see some talents.
Yeah,
maybe.
gifts and talents.
Yep, and then kind of guiding them to nurture that, because everybody tries to strengthen all their weaknesses, which is fine. But if you went all in on the things that you're actually talented and good at, like an NFL player, right? The things you can do are far greater than just trying to be, okay at your talent and then just shoring up every weakness, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And we used to call what you're saying as S+. We would, for every negative, we put 5 positives.
Yeah.
So, and you're right, you harp on the positives and not the negatives. And again, that, you just hopefully, because we can't make anybody change, so that's including kids. We just influence or guidance or put things in place, and hopefully those things will, like I said, turn on a light bulb in the head, and hopefully there's like, I don't want to go down this path. Because I mean, even for me, I was like, my dad died when I was 5. It was 6 of us, mom raising 6, and I'm second to the last. And I see my 4 older siblings, go through their struggles and go through their ordeals, and I'm like, I don't want to be like this.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I just didn't want to be a burden to my mom. Then, so, all those things I took as motivation and encouragement to spur me moving in the right direction. Now, yeah, we all make mistakes, and we're no perfect. We're no choir boy, but I'm just saying, made me step up to the plate and do what it would take to be successful. I was like, I know I need to go to school. I know I need to get my education. I know I need to do these things to better my life and be in a better position. Some people look at that as woe is me, and play the victim role. I didn't want to play the victim role. To me, what is it going to be worth at the end of the day? Because if you don't do nothing about it, nobody can do anything about it yourself. So if I'm still in that victim role, then I'm putting myself in a negative comparison to my peers, to the world, to this and that, and it's going to be hard for me to, get out of that ditch, out of that hole. So I was like, I'm not going to put myself in that hole. I'm putting myself up here, and then I'm always reaching for something. always reaching for something, and again, that just motivated me to just work hard and do do what I need to do to better myself, better my future.
Yeah, and it's so important to utilize things that you see that you don't like you're talking about, to motivate you. Like, yeah, I don't want that. And then, like, victim mentality, it's hard for me because it gives up control, right? It gives up control of you making a change and making a difference. Like,
Mm-hmm.
to give you an example, I used to be overweight, and it wasn't anything crazy. Like, you wouldn't see me on like Biggest Loser or anything like that. But they're not forklifting.
You could have made some money though.
Yeah, they're not forklifting me into a building. But I was definitely overweight. I was about 265, and it was the biggest I'd ever been. And I just made a decision. I'm like, I know why. I'm drinking too much beer. I'm eating bad food, and I'm not exercising enough. I'm not going to drink beer. I'm going to eat better food, and I'm going to start exercising. I started going to the gym the next day, and this is like 8 years ago. And I started going to the gym. I tracked every rep. I tracked my food. I weighed myself every day. I got kind of psychotic about it. And I took off 40 pounds. Then I started putting on a bunch of muscle. And I was about 220, 225 of really solid, guy. Kind of like I am now, honestly. I still probably need to take off a few pounds now. But the point is no, I'm not going to settle for this. I'm not going to be a victim.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say that, oh, well, it's too far gone, that kind of thing. And that's a mentality, going back to talking to my kids, that and now none of them are overweight or stuff, but like when they say that they can't do something, or I'm not good at this when school,
Yeah.
it bothers me. And I'm like, listen, of course you're not. You're not good at anything to start with. You have to learn the skill. And you know what? You might discover a new talent. Like, you wouldn't have known you were good at football or basketball or any of the things I'm sure you were good at until you started playing.
Yeah, well, I
In the
mean,
beginning, you probably weren't very good.
no, in my family, I was the big boy. Everybody else was skilled players. My oldest brother was a receiver. The next one to me was a running back and linebacker, and they loved him. They idolized my brother, and I mean, they compare me to him, like, why you not like him? And I mean, this is my growing up, and I'm like, I'm all O lineman and D lineman in the family. Even the cousins were skilled people. I'm like, I'm the only fat boy, I guess you can say, and I had to hear that, throughout my, I would say high school, because once I got to college, they couldn't say nothing then.
Right.
But the high school, and again, when you are being told one thing, and again, I just said that's motivation. You said I can't, and I said I can, and it's a mindset.
It is.
It's a mindset, and we talk about the kids, and our kids, unfortunately, came through the entitlement stage. We had to work for it. These kids like, Daddy, can you give me the phone?
Yeah.
Which one you want, 17 or 16? And that's what we did. And we hoping that we taught value still in the mix of that, but they never really had to work for anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they didn't see the value add to a lot of those things, unfortunately. I think with our kids is like, you might get this, but it'll be no to that. And I think, for the girls a lot smoother. My son, he's too much like daddy, I think, unfortunately. I always say that. He's a good kid, but he's 35, but he's still trying to find his way at 35. And I think for men, we're still trying to find our way, and I've been there and done that, even though I had some success, but you're still trying to find your way.
Yeah, always.
And the girls, they're more focused. And that's the one is in Dallas in med school, and the one that's here, which is my wife's daughter, she got a PhD at 27 in education administration, and then like I said, the third one is in college, and she's thriving there. So, like I said, the girls are more focused. My son is he's still trying to find his way.
Yeah.
Put it that way. But overall, when we look at our kids and what we're trying to do, yeah, we're still trying to create the legacy as you indicated in the beginning of the conversation, and really have something left over for them when it's all said and done.
Right.
I still want to be able to have that, and even for the grandkids. I mean, even the Bible tells you that in Proverbs, old man, stores up for his, grandkids. So I want to be in that position when it's all said and done as well for the grandkids and maybe even the great grandkids.
Yeah.
And
That's the legacy, right? That that we all have in us, and that we want to leave. And it's with the kids, they all find their way, and I think more is caught than taught. Like they saw you work hard, in your career and what you've done afterwards. So like when he finds his way, and the girls are already like doing it, like they see that, they see the values. Like that's for me. My situation was a little different. So my dad, amazing dude. He had me at 19, right? And we're from a small town, we're from Safford, Arizona. So like that sounds like, oh, that's super young. No,
I know what Stafford.
yeah, it's Safford, Arizona, right? That's where I'm from, and I love it. It's great place to be from. I'm glad I don't live there, but my dad had me at 19, didn't have a degree or anything, and the mine is where you work. You work at the mine, you work at the prison. Some people started a business, but that was a minority of people that do that, right? So he went to the mine, and he worked because he had 19, he has a kid. My mom was kind of in the picture for a while there, and he worked himself up. And then my grandfather worked at the mine, my great-grandfather worked at the mine, and they said, you need to get yourself an apprenticeship. And my dad did. He took a pay cut, and he got an apprenticeship to become an engineer at the mine, and then he used that to leapfrog up here to be an engineer, and then built an incredible career. Like you meet anybody that's ever worked with my dad, and he's retired now, like they had a lot of great things to say about him. But I watched this as a kid. Like we left the town that most people don't leave. Everybody else didn't take the pay cut, to actually get another skill to move themselves up further. And granted, they were making okay money, but it never ever really increased a whole lot. And I was like, yeah, I got that. So I caught that, and then I had my own aspirations, my own dreams. So I'm hoping that the kids, you always just hope the kids are watching that and that they see. And I tell people all the time, and I know this is a podcast with you, but I think it's important to say, I built a company while they were young. My first company that I sold, I mean, they wouldn't have even been conscious, and my daughter wasn't really even alive. She's 8 now, so she would have only seen a few years of it. But now, coming into Arrive and helping grow this company, like they're going to get to see it. And they're watching Mom. She's built a national peptide company. You met my wife. We played golf together.
Yeah.
And she's built that. Like, I hope they're watching how hard it is, but then the attitude it takes, the things, like that's what I hope they see out of this.
Well, I tell the kids, you sacrifice now for gains later.
Yes.
Because a lot of that stuff, when you really think about it, is unnecessary. Because when we look back on it, like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, and what was it worth? It wasn't worth nothing.
Yep.
I gained nothing from it. I lost more than I gained. So you're like, this is unnecessary. So I tell them to sacrifice now for gains later. So it'll come to a point where you are able to have that extra fun or do these extra things because now you position yourself for that.
Yep.
And you put yourself where you can work very smarter and not harder because of the sacrifice you make in life. So, and the one daughter, well, the two young ones are catching on to that. The older daughter is too, because she graduated from Princeton and all those things. So she's grinding it out. You got to think about Princeton, molecular biology. I didn't even realize that was a degree.
Wow,
yeah. I was like, is that a degree? What do you, I mean, but, they learn to grind those things out and then set a career path, as we indicated, that's going to beneficial because I'm not taking care of you. I told my young, I said, you paying rent now. You're coming home to pay rent. You don't have a home.
Right.
She'd just be laughing at me. I was like, I ain't playing. You ain't
That's
got
right.
no. You don't have
You on
no.
the first.
Yeah, you ain't got no home now. You gotta come get your job. I had to work during our era, because I'm gonna say our era because I think you're still in that era. We ain't got no NIL money. If you playing a sport, you're on scholarship. You couldn't work during the time you're in school because it's almost like they paying you already. So you had to work during summer, you had to work spring break, and you had to work during fall break, or Christmas break, I should say, to earn some extra money. Or other than that, you broke.
Yeah.
So I told my daughter, I said, you realize I had to work every summer, every Christmas break, every break until it was time for me when I got drafted. I didn't have to work no more. That's the first summer I didn't have to work because I got drafted in April of 1992. So I had to work well, I had to work for football, so I guess I was still working, but I had to work no odd jobs.
A little better paycheck.
Yeah, a little better paycheck, but I had to work no odd jobs. And she said, for real? I said, yeah, I had to work anytime it was a break.
Yep.
I had to work. You had to go get it. And then you mentioned a child. I had my son at 20. Okay. And pregnant at 19, but he actually came when I was 20. And so, yes, it's a different mindset. And if you really wanted to be there for your kid, you got to change some things and reinvent yourself somewhat. In my case, it wasn't really reinvent. Is really putting more pedal to the metal and working harder for him.
Yep. And it does. It gives you a motivation.
Yeah, it was a motivation to take it to the next level because I was more education than the more mindset of making it to the league because coming out of Sam Houston State, which is small school, 1AA at that time, and saying, and I can tell you some of the guys that came out of there because it wasn't a lot. I was the highest draft pick at that time, so you got to think about 1992. They done since had a few got drafted ahead of me, but still, that's not a lot.
No.
And so, with that being said, I was like, man, I got to get this education. But then football panned out for me, and it made a better life for all of us. So thank God for that. And then one thing, just like Charles Barkley always said, about role models and everything else, and we put in these positions to be role models, and and it's a platform that God gives us. And some people use it as a selfish thing, but I don't think it's a selfish thing. I think it's a platform that you can reach the young kids, as we indicated.
Absolutely.
And even in the financial industry, like I say, I got my Series 763 from when I was with Charles Schwab, and and it was like I'm a stockbroker. I'm big time now, and it comes along with some clout, some mystique about you, and I think people want to position themselves or want to be in that element, like being in a certain service members. When it comes down to getting on that plane, you wouldn't mind being a service member. I was like, man, I'm gonna pull out my fake card so I can get on the plane first. So you get those opportunities, but then you didn't serve your country, so it made it look like you have some, or you've done something in life. I think that's where a lot of people they really want to get to where they feel valuable.
Yes.
And they added value to life, to their families, to others. You know what I mean? And it's almost like at the end of your dash, you want to say, will it be one person at your funeral, or will it be the whole place be packed?
Yeah, there's an old saying, and it's a biblical saying, right? To whom much is given,
Much is required.
much is required, right? And instinctively, us as human beings, and I would say this about the human race, and obviously some people just deviate from this, but instinctively, when we're given a lot, you want to give back. Like it's in your spirit. Like you want to give back. So when you're given a platform like that, and you have all of this stuff, and you have the right people around you, like instinctively they want to give back. So I do see that a lot, and that's one thing I've always admired about the athletes I've been able to meet and get to know and stuff. Most of them are really nice people, and like you said, they put their pants on the same way. They just have a skill that you don't have, right? And you never will, a skill and a talent, to another level. But they're given a lot more, so they want to give back. Devin Booker's a great example. Devin Booker, the guy's always doing something. Larry Fitzgerald's one of the greatest examples I've ever seen.
Yeah, he was just at Nick Lowry's feeding the homeless at St. Vincent de Paul for Thanksgiving. Larry and Devin was there. I seen the pictures. I was supposed to have been there. I didn't realize I wasn't feeling well, but I just kept it moving, so I couldn't make it. But he understood. But yeah, you got those guys that. And my motto was, and I say it in my speeches a lot of times, it's better give than receive. I think it's a blessing. You're a blessing to be a blessing to others. And and I think if you continue to have that mindset, and it's also God's economic system too. You got to call it for what it is. You can't outgive him, but he also say you give and you give back. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, till man give unto you. So his economic system, and then also said, you give your 10%. I'll see that I'll open up the windows of heaven, Malachi 3:10, and pour you out a blessing so much you can't even restore it. So his economic system is you give, I'm gonna give back because like you said, you can't give God, but you don't do it technically for that. You just do it because of your heart.
It's the heart. It's what you're supposed to do. But then it's as you give, He wants to bless you with more, so you can give more. Like my prayer every morning when I wake up is, Lord, let me be a blessing to everybody I'm in front of today. That's I say it every day.
Awesome.
Have for a long time, and it's just a very small but intentional thing. Like whoever I'm sitting in front of, like that's the most important person. I want to be a blessing to them, and it may just be a quick conversation, maybe a high five, maybe they're going through something, or maybe I'm opening the door for them. It's like something simple, but.
That's awesome. That's awesome prayer. That is awesome prayer. That's a servant prayer.
Yeah, well, hey, I got extra rounds, right? And I tell people it's so funny, this podcast named One More Round. Before I had all my health issues, and I ended up going into the hospital in 2023 and spending 2 months there and dying twice in the hospital, getting a heart transplant, all that stuff. Like I felt like I was still that giving kind of person before. But then coming out of that, I was like, oh no, I really got some extra innings out of this. I better do some good things because the good Lord didn't keep me here for nothing. So I got real intentional with it. So it's like, it's just important to serve because I don't know why I'm here. Nobody does, but I do know that I'm here to bless the people I'm in front of. So.
Right. Wow. Mine was 2 days. You did 2 months, man. God bless you. them 2 days were crucial.
I still wake up every once in a while. Every once in a while, and the room's really dark, and I'll wake up and think I'm still in the hospital. It's weird because I was at 4 different hospitals: Mercy Gilbert to start with, then Chandler Regional, and then St. Joe's, and then Banner University, which is where I got the transplant. It was all straight. Like they transferred me to one to the other, 61 days, and then I got out at the transplant. I was healing up really great. 2 weeks later, then fluid started to build up. Get back into they're like, oh yeah, you need to come back. We need to get that fluid. I'm like, oh gosh. Stayed in for 5 more days. Imagine going home after 61 days, right? Sitting in your chair, being with your family. Like, granted, they were coming to see me, but my wife would stay overnight every once in a while. They weren't even, she wasn't even supposed to, but like the nurses, they let her or whatnot. But then after 61 days that I'd been just praying to get out of the hospital, you get back, you're at home for a week, and they're like, no, we need to come back. It's urgent. Like, if you don't do this, like, you could just die all of a sudden. I'm like, get back. They keep me for 5 more days. And it was supposed to only be 2 days. And then third day, and it's like, but yeah, so.
Oh, wow.
Anybody who's been in that, but like one of my wife's friends, he just got a double lung transplant. He was in the hospital for 4 months. So like I look at that, I'm like, hey, I was blessed. Could have been a lot worse. And then
and you know what? And that's the thing about it. You're right. You see people in worse situations and conditions that you are, and we really shouldn't complain. Like you said, this guy did 4, you did 2. I'm like, man, that 2 was tough, but this guy had to go another 2 more, and it's got to be even tougher. So I have to digress on the complaining because it's people that not even able to walk, even though I'm shorting his breath to get right there, but I still can get over there.
Right. Yep.
And there's people that need assistance, and I didn't need assistance to make it. So, we always got to, I guess, look at the bright side of things.
Yeah, it's all you can do in any situation, right? I mean, you just deal with the hand that's dealt with you right now, but it gets better. Like, eventually, it definitely gets better. But 2 things before we wrap up. One, like, you played in the NFL for 9 years. We haven't really talked about that. So, what are like a couple of the things you're most proud of your NFL years?
I'm thankful for the opportunity to get to play that long. I also played briefly with the Redskins, now the Commanders. They actually sent me, I would say, a sweater just recently. I was like, oh, with my name and my number on it with a Washington Commanders Legends Cup. And
cool.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. In a box, it's nice. Heck, the Cardinals haven't done anything like that, even though I got a bunch of Cardinal stuff because I'm here. So, and it's our alumni weekend, so we have benefits on tomorrow, the game on Sunday, and then golf at Whirlwind on Monday. But back to your question, it was just a blessing to get that opportunity to play where I came from. Went to a small high school, small college, and I got an opportunity to play in the pros that many years. 5 different head coaches. Really didn't have a winning season for the most part. 8-8 was the best one I had. But I was still just thankful that I was able to play in the National Football League at the highest level. You can always say you played at the highest level, and that can't be taken away from you. And then what it has brought to my table, and the doors that it has opened to, I have to be quite frank. Like, and being NFLPA president for the Phoenix chapter, second term. Actually, I was a president prior to, but you only can do two-year terms in a row. This is my second 2-year term. Been able to raise the attendance, raise the venues, and raise the atmosphere for the players, bringing in great people like yourself, talk about financial planning and all those things that these guys need to hear, including myself. To where you set a stage. Tomorrow's not promised, we all know, but you still got to prepare.
Yep.
You still
hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Yeah, you still got to prepare. That's not going to change. But with the career I had, and I'm also was, it was so interesting. I was flying back from somewhere. Somebody sent me this, and I thought, look, is this real? So they out of the top 100, I'm number 62 as a Cardinal player. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it was just a blessing to be able to be in this league, play in this league, thrive in this league. All the camaraderie, the friends, we got group texts with friends that we played against. Those are the two things that you miss is the paycheck and the camaraderie.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the things that when we get an opportunity to get together, like December the 18th, and again, thank you, Rive and Josh, for coming out and supporting the NFLPA meeting.
Absolutely.
You're gonna have a great time. Indicated you'll get an opportunity to speak to the guys about what Arrive does, financial services, and then also hand out your information, and hopefully guys take advantage of it. You already been talking to guys already, so it'll be some of the guys that you already know that will be there, but it'll be a lot of guys that you don't know that will be there. There will be opportunities as well.
I'm looking forward to it.
I think it's beneficial.
Yeah, for sure.
And when we had that conversation, JD did it on purpose. And that's JD Hill. And he like, I got you with somebody. I'm like, JD, and we go back and forth in a good way. But the connection, he was right. It was bigger than just that part.
Right, yeah.
I didn't realize that till I sat down. He's like, what is that? And I'm like, yeah. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad you're looking forward to it. Bring the wife.
Yeah, she's looking forward to it.
It's a toy drive too. Like I said, it'll be food, drinks, Thursday night. So it'll be a Thursday night game going on.
Oh, great.
DJ, cigars, and people having a good time. Feel free. What I normally do, you'll be the first one brought up, so you set the stage. After I speak, you'll be setting the stage after that. And so I think you will have a great time. And again, thank you guys for participating.
Absolutely.
And you're welcome to come too. If you want to do some photography, that'll be great. We'll appreciate you. Send it to me too.
Love that. Two more things before we wrap up. Who are your favorite teammates? If you could pick like two.
Oh man, you know what? Man. I know you had DK on the show. DK really wasn't you wanted some funny stuff. So DK wasn't my teammate, but DK left when I got drafted here in '92. DK went to the Saints after he left here, and it so happened my first start as a rookie was against Derek Kennard. And you know DK, you know his size.
Yeah, big man.
And DK was a mauler. He was a guy that wanted to hurt you.
Yeah.
As no joke. They kept telling me, because the players that were there before played with DK, he's like, all they're gonna do is try to hurt you, man. Just get ready. And I said, all right, my first start. And DK get mad at me, but I did. Is this PG or HBO, whatever? What I need to know. I did whoop DK's ass, I'll be honest. He don't like me saying it because that game I had like 12 tackles, a sack. DK said, well, we won the game. Yeah, I said, yeah, you won the game, but I whooped your ass anyway. Yeah. But that was my first start in the NFL was against Derek Kennard. But we're good friends. Eric Hill, the linebacker LSU. Daryl Clark, ASU, Dallas Cowboys. Even though I don't like the Cowboys, but I like Daryl Clark. As a PA rep, JD Hill. You have all these guys, that you play with. Seth Joyner. I know you know the great Seth Joyner, Clyde Simmons, Bruce Smith. You got a plethora of those guys Jim McMahon, which is crazy. Now, Jim is crazy.
Yeah.
Now, that is a story.
The Chicago quarterback? Yeah.
But I play with him.
Okay, yeah.
But Jim is naturally crazy.
Yeah.
It's all the stuff you hear, believe it, because he's just naturally crazy. We played when Buddy was here. He came through, and Buddy knew how crazy Jim was, so he didn't care. Jim is the type of person take a dump, put it in a bag, and put it by your door and light it afire. And and just laugh. He just
the old Billy Madison. I love
yeah,
it.
yeah. He just wild, and he's so funny though. He's really just a funny guy. Last time I was with Jim, he was the guest speaker at the Fiesta Bowl kickoff luncheon.
Okay.
And he's doing quite well because I know his leg was messed up a little bit, but he was walking on his own without his cane, and I thought that was good. And he looked real well, and he's still keeping it moving. But you got a lot of guys like that you played over the years, and some of the younger guys that have came through afterwards because of the position I am, and hopefully you bridge that gap. We did things with Dennis Gardeck, Marcus Golden. I know Larry's been around for a long time. Fitzgerald, Frank Sanders, he's always around. Great guy, great golfer. Rick Cunningham, Jerome Daniels. We also do a podcast too.
Oh, cool.
On Sunday, sports podcast on Sunday at Dave and Buster's, the one at Tempe Marketplace. And then also they had us at the casino. We're actually going to be at the casino again doing the podcast as well. They want us there. So, just having the guys around anytime we get that opportunity, it's a blessing. We got I just indicated we got the alumni weekend, and it's just for the Cardinals. So a lot of the Cardinal guys will be there for the benefits, for the game on Sunday, and then especially for the golf. So
yeah.
So I'm gonna see a bunch of the guys.
Whirlwind's fun. Whirlwind's a fun course, man.
Yeah, Whirlwind. And that's what the Cardinals do. Their benefit, their golf tournaments. Now it's the Cardinals Foundation. And I do it like that because it was Cardinals charity, and they switched it to the foundation, which put people in different positions to oversee us and everything else. So they still working out the kinks on that aspect of it, but it's going well. It's going decent. We also have, and if you want to support, we got Cardinals Climb for special needs.
Okay.
I'm one of the spearhead along as Marcus Golden. I got to do better. I'm feeling better, so I think I get on board. We got till February. Just need to raise some money to it'll go to the Cardinal charities, but the initiative is special needs.
Will you text me anything you want me to share out? Because that was actually my last question. Was like, how can we support? So these types of things.
Yeah,
I want to make sure.
I'll get the flyer to you, and then the Cardinals Climb. Let me see the best way to get that, and then so you can support to get that out. Like I said, special needs. We did a special needs thing with the Suns. At the Suns Arena several months ago. I think several months ago now. So, and then I also did Mikey's League, which is they don't turn special needs people away from playing sports like basketball, baseball, flag football, things of that nature. We did a camp with them probably 3 or 4 months ago, which was beneficial. We had about 16, 17 guys out there came out to support.
That's big for us. Like we love to help that community because like a lot of people don't know when it comes to like special needs, if they're getting government assistance, even whether they're a child or as they get older, you have to set things up correctly in a trust to where money does not go directly to them to bump their threshold up to kick them out of those programs. So you can set up a special needs trust to where that money can be paid on their behalf for things like housing, but not directly to them. So like that's a big community we serve. One of our advisors has a special needs son, and something we do a lot of. So that's a great cause.
All right, we're on the same page. Okay, awesome. But yeah, I'll get that stuff to you, and then we can go from there.
Sounds good, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on today. This is a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, I know you enjoyed this. Please share it out with a friend, share it out with a Cardinal fan, share it out with someone that that not only loves football, but loves helping people and kids. And I'm going to put the links below that you can support. Donate a toy if you can get one to me before the 18th. When you're listening to this will be next week, probably around the 7th. So plenty of time. You can drop it off at Arrive or text me. I can come pick it up. But we appreciate you, and we will see you next time.